Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Can't seem to get enough light. We're gonna have to go for it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I can do this in the dark.
I'm excited to learn a little bit more. And I had several people accept, so we'll see. I think at least 8 people said they were planning to come. So
Yeah, we'll see. It's the day before the holiday week. Who knows who will show up? I can always do it again. Like I can do this whenever you need me.
yeah. Hey, Kelly. Anastasia, is the read.ai, is that your note taker?
I thought I booted my note taker out.
I'm
That
I'm
doesn't sound like
gonna,
me.
I'm
Mine's
gonna
Otter
deny
AI.
all the note takers just so that we have more space.
Yeah, yeah,
I have my note taker because I'm recording this.
yeah. But yeah, you can boot mine. Mine's Otter AI.
Yeah, yours didn't show up.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch backgrounds. Kelly, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Oh, that's so funny. Christmas cabin background. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, I like that one.
That is very pretty.
I'll switch my background. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not doing it.
Well, I was
I
going to
don't
turn mine
either.
off
I'm
because
looking.
my head, I look like I'm like a ghost because of the background makes my head disappear. But
Oh,
maybe I'll leave it
Oh,
on.
that's a nice background.
Yeah,
fancy bookshelf.
yeah, I like that one, Anastasia. I use that one a lot. I figured it's close to Christmas, so why not?
I kind of like the Christmas cabin one, though, or about this one.
Oh, there you go.
So cozy.
Well, this is nice. It'll be a nice effect.
Look at that. They've got some good ones in
How's your
here.
week going, Kelly?
Good. Good. It's going pretty good. We're having I got a background now. We've got some, it's just, there's just so much food in our break room. Sweets, fudge. Today's the potluck. Someone brought Jello shots. I mean, I'm just
awful,
lost
right? It
control.
is awful.
Yeah, so it's that I call it heating and eating. That's all we do here is eat. People bring food in all day long during the holidays. It's crazy.
You know what? It's the one time of the year when I let myself go a little crazy. I'll eat whatever I want. But January 1st, the lockdown comes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's good.
Yeah, I've also been thinking about starting something like drastic in January.
Drastic.
Yeah, my doctor gave me this new plan to try just for a clean, excuse me, a reset, and just went, okay, after Christmas, I'll think about it.
Yeah, this is just hard.
Well, just like party eating is, it's never healthy. Like my husband and I had a party we had to go to last night, and I didn't know what they were serving. And so 2 nights ago, we went out to dinner for my birthday and had a big pasta meal. It's my favorite. They ordered the food from the same restaurant for the party last night. So it was more pasta and chicken parm than I had the night before. And I have leftovers of that support tonight.
Oh
So
no. Oh
it's
no.
all carbs and cheese all the time in our household right now. And my husband is like, you gotta stop this. This is not healthy.
Yeah. I mean, to get to a certain point, yeah, not good. Well, it's 9:30 straight up. What do you say that we start the formal presentation
Sorry.
on time? And like I said, Anastasia, I will record this so that we can post the recording too.
And look, this is a tough time. Like, this is holidays. Nobody's thinking about work.
Not for me. I'm planning trips, so I need this. I'm
exactly.
buying it.
This is why
I was
wanted
like
to
yesterday. My girlfriend's like, "Let's go to Africa in 26," and sent me this link, and my son. So I that's all I want to do. It's why
I am on it with you.
It's
Yeah,
why I want to be done with this business. So I'm all for figuring this out.
that
Yeah.
is amazing.
I'm
Well,
the same.
I should be able to give you a whole bunch of information, maybe a little overwhelming. So watch the recording again. I should be able to give you a whole bunch of information to start getting yourself started, and then email me questions, and I'll help you out with it. You know, we'll get this figured out. We also have a course coming up, so if you want to go deep dive and really learn this, so you'll have it forever, you can do that. But in the short term, I just want to give you enough information to start playing with the kinds of tools that you need that nobody knows are available to them, and to understand what you're doing wrong, right? Like, I thought I was a points expert. I was kind of I'll say this nicely, a kind of a points whore, but I was not doing it well. I was not a very good whore. That's all I'll say, right? Like, I just wasn't doing it very well. And so what I want to give to you guys today is I want to bust the 5 travel myths that I know that we all had, because I had them and the rest of the world has them as well. And then I want to get into how you make your business earn points for you, because any of you guys who are in Donna's group should be making enough points through your business to never pay for travel again in your whole life. Businesses are so great for 10xing your points and doing it really fast. Yeah. So what I want to do is give you enough information so that you start to see, oh, I have a lot more access than I thought. Okay. Now, can you give me sharing ability, and I will share my screen. And then I'm just going to walk you through a presentation, and you guys, like, stop me if it's stuff or tell me, like, move it along, lady, we got it. Okay. Because this is for you. I want you to get what you can out of this. You already know who I am, and so I'm not going to spend any time on that because we did that in Donna's group meeting. But this is me and my husband at Oktoberfest in Munich. This is us on a hiking trip in Italy. This is like, our life is travel. We've always thought that way. Now, part of where this business came from is that we were only able to afford to travel once a year, like to take a big trip once a year. And you'd save and save and save, and it would be really expensive. And then you'd have a hangover from the trip and be like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But it was amazing, and I want to do it again next year. So that's kind of where it all came from, is this was a little side project when I met someone who was a points expert. So I have always looked at travel as a gigantic a hugely eye-opening thing for me. So we created MilesMentor to help people travel more, travel better, pay less. I'm a snob now. I only want to fly in first class. I want to bed when I fly overseas. I want to be comfortable in beautiful hotels. I want great food. I've worked hard my entire life for these things. And I think that everybody should understand how to have them a lot easier than what we're currently doing. So that's what MilesMentor is about. Roger is the mentor. So I met him. He was an sales guy that I sent into some of my clients. And we had a drink after a client engagement, and he started telling me about his hobby. His hobby was points generation. And in like an hour, I was so like, my attention was so wrapped. I was like, oh my God, this guy knows everything. Like, I need to figure out how to do this. So during COVID, he started to help us, my husband and I, generate points. And I started to get the idea for the business. And I finally told him, like, you got to stop doing this for free for all your friends. Like, this information is incredibly valuable. Like, I think there's something here, and I think we could teach a lot of people how to do this. So he's traveled all around the world. You know, he's in his 60s now, and he just like will decide tomorrow to go to Portugal because he can. He's got like 10 million points just lying around at any given time. And so I aspire to be Roger. I aspire to have that kind of freedom and access because I have done the work to do the points generation. So he is definitely an expert. There are 40 of these guys in the country. The points guy is one of them. Everybody knows him, but like there's 40 guys who have this as like a very beyond hobby, like a fanaticism. And all 40 of them get together a couple of times a year at these travel conferences and share information. So we all know each other, and everybody's like trying out different business models. And we're the only one that has like a course and some consulting practice. And so that's how we're helping people right now. So Roger's your guy. He knows everything. And he does business and personal use. So MilesMentor itself generates enough points for us to never have to pay for business travel. And we also generate enough to add to our personal banks too. So what we do, we're luxury travel consultancy. So we want to help you figure out, how do I accumulate points? How do I search for domestic and international points? And how do I spend my points most effectively? Okay, so there's a list of things in here that are really important to do. And for us, it really requires like some thinking and a plan. Like, you can't just say, oh, geez, I wish I had saved my points this year because I'd like to go somewhere. You have to actually have a strategy around this on an ongoing basis. And so before I start, I want to give you the wisdom of Bronnie Ware. Have any of you guys ever heard of her? So she's a caregiver for people at the end of their lives. And she is, I would think of her as a saint, right? Like, she is one of those in-home people who just, makes you feel comfortable. And so what she learned in doing that work was that she was a listener. And so she heard from people their 5 common regrets at the end of their life. 5 common regrets are: people obsess over work too much. We all know that because we are women in business. We do that all the time, right? We worry too much about what other people think. We regret neglecting past friendships. So reconnecting with people and like, why didn't we when we had the time? And these last 2 are the important ones. Not living your own life on your own terms. People regret that. And people regret not prioritizing what makes them happy. And what I have found is executives love travel. Everybody wants that, more of that in their life. And so what I want you to think about as we go through this presentation is like, how do I have no regrets? How do I not end up with these 5 things as things like when I'm on my deathbed and I'm thinking about it, I want to be saying to myself, man, I ran through the tape and I did all the things and I kept all my relationships and I went to see people and I saw the world. Like, those are the things I want you thinking about. How do we have no regrets? Because when you learn this stuff, you have it forever. All right, so let's go into what we're going to talk about. So key takeaways I want for you to take away from this presentation. There are 5 myths, ways you've been doing it. You need to stop doing those things. Okay, those are the first things we're going to start with. Then there's proven, reliable, and simple system to do this. It's not hard. You just have to learn it. It's not a big secret or anything like that. It's most people don't know this stuff. And so you end up sort of doing what everybody else does, which the airlines love, either losing your points or wasting them or overspending and that kind of a thing. And you can't travel as much. Now, I want you to start living the travel component of your EOS life today. So some of you know what that means and some don't. And I'll go through that in a minute. And we think your business should work as hard for you as you do for it. So we do not run businesses or own businesses so that we can work ourselves to death. We run businesses and own businesses so that we can have the life we want. And so we want to make sure that this is a reciprocal arrangement with your own company. All right. So first thing, 97% of my leadership team members report having travel on their personal vision traction organizer. That means their personal future plan includes traveling as much as possible. Now, we believe in the EOS way, which is doing what you love with people you love, making a huge difference, being compensated appropriately, and having time for other passions. Time for other passions is the big one that I have always failed on. I thought I was living my EOS life pretty well. I mean, being an implementer, I teach this crap and I should know it and I should be doing it, right? But I took sort of Gino's assessment on this and found that I scored very, very badly on time for other passions. I realized I didn't even know what I was passionate about anymore. And so that made me take some clarity time to really figure out what does that look like for me. And that's where this business came from, travel being that important. So you need a plan when you want to go somewhere. You have to have a goal, because that's how we frame up all of the input and feedback we would give for you for a specific trip. Set a travel goal. Understand what you've got to work with today. That doesn't mean that's what we're going to use, but understand where your starting point is. Do you know the value of all your points? Has anybody ever showed you how to look at all your points in one place? Like that for me always used to drive me nuts. Oh, I got to go onto the Marriott site and figure out, do I have any points over there? I got to go to Hyatt now because I don't have enough Marriott. You know, like you've got to understand the value, and you need a snapshot of a place where you can look at that fast. You then need to determine how many points you need. Oh, I want to take 8 people to Paris for a family reunion. Okay, well, we need a bunch of points then. Let's figure that out, and then we'll have a strategy to earn those points. How do we get to those points quickly? And then how do we help you spend your points wisely so you get the best travel for the lowest amount of points? That's how we think about planning for trips. And so we'll show you how to do some of these things. Now, for you guys, many of you are owners, most of you are owners, many of you are executives in businesses. Are we using our business to earn points? Are we trying to travel more than once a year for pleasure in a big trip? You know, do we know who in our household plans the travel? Is it us, or is there somebody better suited to this information? Do you have an annual personal travel budget or an annual business budget? And what if we told you we could reduce that budget by at least 75%? Like, can we get your personal travel budget down? Can we get your business travel budget down? So you have money to spend on other things. Personal travel budget, like I saved enough last year to put a front porch on my house. So make no mistake about it. I spend the money I save on travel. I just do it on other things. And in businesses, you know, we just helped a team take 25 people and their spouses to Barcelona for a reward trip. Save them $68,000, which will now go to something else in their business, some other investment that they want to make. So think about all these questions, because these are things that you will be asked as we go through planning a trip with you. Where'd you go on your last big trip? Have you looked at the value of that? How much did you spend? Did you use miles and points? And what'd you get out of them? Or did you end up, doing what I used to do, which is spend 370,000 United points to go to Europe and back? No, that you should be spending like $120,000 points to do that. So how did we do on our last trip? And then where do we want to go now? What are your bucket list trips? The trips you think you cannot go on because you can't afford it and it's going to be a big trip and we don't know how to do it. And, I want to do a round the world ticket and I want to be gone for 6 weeks. Okay, well, why do you have to wait until you're like 25 years from now to do that? We want you to do those things now. And then how many points do you have in total? So we know what we're starting with and we can tell you how to diversify and expand that points bank. All right, so here's your top 5 travel must-knows. You must know who you got to earn enough points to take at least one coach trip a year. That's what we do, right? We care about at least that. Have a dedicated airline card. Book your travel way, way, way in advance so you get the best deal. Focusing your points on 1 or 2 reward systems to make sure you're maximizing them. And then do you use a single primary credit card for most of your expenses? These are the must-knows that people believe about travel. And I did it this way for a long time. Like, okay, I was a United flyer. I just got the United credit card. I just flew United. I would book my points tickets 335 days in advance because I knew that's when United released their points tickets. And I would just focus on Hilton and United. That was all I did. Guess what? Those are all very, very wrong. This is not the way you want to do it. Okay. So we've got to unlearn what you've learned about travel and points, because we have been doing it wrong because the airlines have taught us to do it wrong. Okay. So let's bust these myths for a minute. Myth one, I don't travel enough to earn many miles. I can only do one like coach trip a year on points. Okay. 58% of frequent flyer miles are not earned by flying. Earning points on the ground is much faster. You can jack your points up really fast if you're conscious of your, and not by overspending or spending on, we're not asking you to change anything in your day to day. So we just want to make sure that you are able to use your current spending to rack up your points. So it's just being smarter about credit card choices and where you do your spending. For example, the Capital One Venture X card gives you 10x on hotels and rental cars and 5x on flights. Why would you put those things on a credit card where you're only getting 1x? But you got to put that stuff. So we also know that most people spend $14,000 on a credit card to earn a single economy round trip airline ticket. $14,000 of your regular spending, right, on your credit cards. That's the way that most people do it. That is way too much to earn just a single economy round trip ticket. So it's poorly spending points that's part of the problem. And as business owners, you're perfectly positioned to earn an incredible number of points very, very fast. So I used to put everything on my United card. Don't do that. One card with one type of airline points locks you in. You have zero choice. If United doesn't fly somewhere where I want to go, I can't use my points. So it's better to have different types of cards. So we want to diversify, and it's better to have bank cards. Amex, Citibank, Capital One, those are all better than a Chase. Bank cards are all better than airline cards because they allow you to transfer to lots of different places. And we care about that. Partner airlines offer greater value than domestic airlines. More often than not, I will book using Alaska airline points to get my United tickets or Air Canada, fantastic. Same seat, same plane. I would pay 100,000 points on United, but I might pay 15,000 points using Air Canada. So you have to know all the partners, the transfer partners. And so sticking with one airline and one credit card is super slow. You want to make sure that you've got a wide range of opportunity in front of you. I used to think booking way out was great. Now, award availability becomes available from airlines as they realize they can't sell the seat. Okay, so there's a handful of tickets that will be released way in advance that are mileage seats. They are very, very expensive. You will blow all your points on that. And so there's a couple of ways to think about this. You can book that ticket way in advance. Use up a whole ton of miles. We call that a Plan B flight. That gives you comfort that you're going. I have a ticket. Now I can start to play the game. The most points movement with airlines happens 1 to 4 weeks out from travel because they're starting to realize they can't sell the seats. So they start to open up mileage tickets. Now the airlines make over half of their income from selling points to credit cards. They love you when you're a points traveler. I used to think you were a second-class citizen when you traveled on points, but you are not. So no, the latest I have ever booked a ticket or rebooked a ticket was on the way to the airport because points tickets are cancelable and fully refundable. So You can have a plan B flight that you booked 335 days in advance for an exorbitant amount of points, and then rebook on your same seat, same plane for lower points closer to the date of travel. That is a thing that most people do not know, is that that's when the points tickets become available. People think these are hard to redeem. What you have to know is the tools you have access to do your searching and booking. And I'm going to give you a whole list of these, but these are just a couple. Comprehensive search tools to tell you who flies where, what seats are available, are there points tickets available? If there are, for what value? You could set alerts for all of this so you can decide the parameters of your travel. These are just a couple of them, but I'll go through a list in a minute. So these are my favorites. Award Wallet is the #1 thing that you should start with no matter what when you are caring about your points. This allows you to enter every program that you get points with and see all your points in one place. If you go to our website, it's a minimal annual fee. I think, I don't know, $20 or $30 or something, but you can get 6 months free through us on the MilesMentor site. Award Wallet takes a little bit of time to set up because you have to enter all your accounts, and some of them will have not a single sign-on, so you'll have to set up some things with how it automatically updates your points. There's a handful of airlines who have chosen to not work with Award Wallet, so you have to, when you go in, manually put in your points. But you can see, I know right now I've got about 3 million points floating around across all of the things that I have points with. Flight Connections tells you who flies where. So when you're wondering, like, well, I've got a ton of Delta points right now, like, let's look at and see who flies where I want to go. And if Delta does, then I can use my points. If they don't, I'm going to have to come up with another plan. Google gives you base pricing for flights, so you can kind of see some initial. Google's an easy place to start with flights. Seats.arrow and points.yeah are my other two favorites. Seats.arrow tells you what seats on planes are not sold yet. And points, tells you when it's an award ticket that's available. So you can set an alert with points.com, and again, start playing with this today. You can say, all right, I want to go to Africa in the end of 2025. And I don't want to pay more than 80,000 points for one way in first class. And every time one of those opens up, it will send you an alert and say, oh, by the way, Qantas just opened up 80,000 points on this American plane going to where you want to go at the dates you want to go. So you will get options of airlines to travel because points, will tell you, okay, time to book that ticket you wanted. But you're setting your own parameters. It's almost like Priceline, where you're like, I don't want to see any flights that are over a certain points level. Okay. And then you book through your specific airlines. So when you're transferring points around, like from Amex to Qantas to buy an American ticket, you're buying the ticket through either the Qantas or American website, but you have transferred using your Amex points or whatever points you're transferring from. So that's the process we go through in great detail in the course, is what's the order of operations when I'm searching and booking, and how do I know when I've gotten the best deal? All right. So everybody thinks opening credit cards is bad for your credit. It actually isn't. Your credit will take a hit for about 2 weeks after you open a new credit card. And if you are not an idiot and you don't jack up all your spending and just fill up all your cards, then you're fine. Your credit score goes up. Your credit score is based on a number of different things. So it's based on your payment history. So if you are solid at paying your cards, this is the big thing to know: the amount of credit you have that you're utilizing. That's the big impact of having credit cards. The more credit cards you have, the larger your capacity to spend is. I could buy houses on credit cards because I have so many of them. Now I don't spend anything on any of them. I've got probably $300,000 in credit without all my Amexes, which are unlimited credit, right? In just credit cards. And when I'm using maybe 10% of that at any given time, and I pay it off every month, your credit score goes through the roof. My credit score is in the low 800s, which is almost as high as it can go. People don't know that you can also open up 2 credit cards per person in your household every 60 days. People think you're going to be in big trouble for doing that, and you are not. So know that that's your opportunity. Now let's talk about 10xing your points through your business. I want to make sure I give you guys enough time to ask questions, so I'm kind of racing through this, but so I'm going to take a break before I get into the business stuff. Any questions so far? All good? Okay. All right, so let's talk about business spending. Big points in your business that all can be done by credit cards, rent, health insurance, assistance. Like, people don't think of these things as things you can charge them credit. And there are certain cards that give you great benefits. Like, for example, the BILT card, B-I-L-T, is a relatively new MasterCard. It allows you to pay rent on a credit card, and it doesn't charge you a credit card fee. So you don't, if you've got a $2,000 rent for your office or a $20,000 rent for your office, there will not be that 3% charge for using a credit card. It's just your straight rent. So beautiful card to have. BILT is also talking about allowing you to pay your mortgage on a credit card in the new year. So we are watching for that, and we'll make a big announcement when it happens, because it used to be allowed and then it went away, and now it's coming back. And that can earn you very fast. Now, other business benefits. Pay your taxes with a credit card. All fees are tax deductible as a business expense, and the amount of points you can get off of paying your taxes, your quarterly estimates for your company on a credit card, are unbelievably high, particularly if you open a new credit card to do it. The reason I have so many credit cards is quarterly, when I pay my tax estimates, I open a new card. I open a new Amex card, which gives me 250,000 points. I pay my taxes, which gives me however many more points on top of that. And I know I have the money in the business to pay it right off the credit card. So you're making sure that you're doing this very responsibly. Pay contractors by credit card. Open new cards for major purchases that you make within the business. If you carry inventory, or you have vehicles or maintenance and stuff like that, those kinds of expenses all should be on credit cards. Personal expenses can be big points too, but like, we don't think of these as running through the business. But anytime you're going to do a remodel, if you have college tuition, weddings, big things that you have to pay for that are regular life things. I had breast cancer this year, so I had a boatload of surgeries, and all of those paid through my Amex card. So I will travel, for free on my new boobs for like 2 years. So, okay, I'll take that. This is my silver lining, right? But anything that you have that's coming up, you want to be very strategic when you have a big spend coming up. And you want to decide, is it time to open a new card? I'll get that bonus for making the minimum spend. Like, how can I do this? Sometimes you can open 2 or 3 cards to pay for something like that, and all of a sudden you're looking at several million points. So when you use your business as a point accumulation strategy, you got to think very clearly about it. Like, you guys already have businesses, but like, if you don't, businesses can be anything or nothing. Like, nobody really cares if it makes any money ever. Nobody really, like, a business can be like, yes, absolutely. Thanks, Caitlin. A business can be like, we Turo one of our cars. So Turo is renting our car. So it's sort of like Airbnb for cars. So we have a rental company called Toomey Time that has its own credit cards and bank accounts. It makes very little money. Our car doesn't rent for that much money, but it pays its own expenses, and it allows me to open up credit cards so that I can get those minimum spends. You can always have multiple credit cards per business. You don't have to have an EIN number to have a business. You just need your social security number. So those are basics if you want to open a new business to get cards. But you have a business already, and all of these different types of businesses can earn extra points for you. Now, legitimate business expenses. This is a thing that people Generally, most of these things are being paid directly out of bank accounts with ACH. And so what you want to do is make sure the value of your points is going to be high before you pay what will be a credit card fee for things, right? So there's a 2.7 to 3.2% fee on these things. So you've got to do the math to see, can I get enough points to get more than a penny a point value? And if I can, then those fees are worth it. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. So you've got rent, utilities, salaries, and wages can all be paid on credit cards. Anything that you pay with a check can be paid with a credit card, okay? Except for mortgages right now. Supplies, equipment, marketing and advertising, and there are certain cards like the Amex Gold card gives you 5x spending on marketing spend. So if you have SEO campaigns and stuff running that has regular payments, why not be getting 5x on that spend? Travel, of course, professional services, all of these things, software subscriptions, training and education, all of this stuff can be put on credit cards. Many companies make the mistake of getting a single business account and then offering out employee cards. Get your employees individual accounts. That's 250,000 points for every single one of those. You know, like there's things that you're missing that you could be getting through credit card usage. Now, paying your expenses, paying your taxes, and deducting all of those fees as business expenses makes the math work. So if you're looking at what's the value of my points and am I getting enough out of this to make the fees worth it, I can promise you are. Just do the math on it and check it out for yourself because it will make you feel better. Now, paying expenses with a credit card. So, you know, if you've got a contractor, say, the guy who built my deck did not take credit cards. So there are two different ways to pay by check off your credit card, Melio and Plastique. These allow you to pay things or with a check, but you can pay them off a credit card. You can use Melio to pay your payroll. It writes a check and sends a check. So it is totally possible to use your credit card for that. People don't know that. Both of these are good. I use Melio more than Plastique. I feel like it's got slightly more services in it than Plastique, but Melio has been great. You can do it with any credit card.
Hey, Anastasia, real quick. I'm going to ask everyone except for
office
Anastasia.
supplies, case cards, they're 5x spend. Now, here's an interesting thing about Award Wallet. Did you guys lose there too? I didn't hear any of that, so.
I was just going to ask everyone to turn off their video, so maybe we'll get more throughput. Anastasia, if you'll leave yours on, I'll ask everyone else to turn off your camera. Maybe that'll help us to get better throughput.
Oh, is it going in and out for you? Okay, I'll keep going. The thing that Award Wallet will do for you, in addition to keeping track of all of your points, is it will tell you where you should be spending. So, for example, office supplies, when you pay on Chase Ink cards, are 5x on your spend. So anytime you buy ink or paper or all that stuff. But you might not know that. So you might be putting it on your Amex card. So Award Wallet will analyze your spending and it will say, hey, don't put your groceries on this card, put them on this card because you could get 5x or 10x. You know, so what you want to do is be putting your spending on the right cards to maximize the value that you get. It's a beautiful thing that Award Wallet Plus will do for you. Now, here's an example of how to think about this. So when you are using credit cards or not able to, and you can share, you can use your Melio to write checks. Here's examples here. A kitchen remodel might cost $30K. Okay, so for $695, you can get an Amex Platinum card. That 30K will help you meet the minimum spend. You will earn 250,000 points for meeting the minimum spend, plus the 30,000 you put on the card for this. So that's 280,000 points. That's 4, sometimes 5 one-way tickets to Europe in first class if you're spending well. Redoing your will, $5,000. Open an American Airlines card for $187 if you want to start to diversify your points. It's not a big annual fee. 80,000 American points for hitting the minimum spend of 5K. Gutter repair, same thing with Capital One. Hit your minimum spend, pay $226 for this card, get 157 Capital One points. So it's being strategic when you have a big charge that you have to do. You also have to remember business class can be cheaper than economy. So if you're going to pay for a business class ticket from Chicago to Paris, right? It's going to cost you about this. Like, you can look them up, they change, they go up slightly and down, but this is point in time. Now you can get that same ticket in economy for $1,110. Now, instead of that, wouldn't you rather be flying first class for half the cost of the economy ticket? So when you look at the frequent flyer points needed to go from Chicago to Paris in first class, on United, it'll cost you 88, on Turkish, 45, Asiana, 40. 22.5K, so $22,000 in normal business expenses charged on a credit card will earn you that, and $652 in transaction fees. So you're already spending the $22,500 in your business. The transaction fees will be $652. That will get you enough points to fly first class for half the cost of coach. So there's some minimal charges still that you're incurring because you're doing things on your credit cards. The costs are just way lower than what you would be paying for straight up paying for the ticket. So where do you start? Always a word wallet, better awareness and management of your points. So it will tell you when things are expiring so you don't lose points by accident. The award wallet spreadsheet is amazing. You can enter all your family members in it. You can, like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to see what do we have in our household to work with. You can also do an award wallet for your business where you enter all your employees and their cards so you can see where you're getting your totals from. Real-time notifications and alerts about what's happening to your points. And if you use the code MilesMentor, you'll get 6 months for free. Again, it's like a platform that costs very little money anyway, but we're a partner with them and they love us because we get people really digging into their points. Here's a way to eliminate travel expenses. Okay, so we, MilesMentor sponsored the EOS conference last year, and we took 3 people to the conference. Now, what most people would do, okay, here's the airfare to get there. Here was the Manchester Grand Hyatt in San Diego where we stayed. Here's the Uber ride from the airport. So it's about $1,800, $1,900 a person. Total cost would normally be about $5,600. And that doesn't even include the cost of the conference ticket itself, right? That's just travel. So we paid nothing. We paid nothing for airfare. We paid nothing for hotels. We paid nothing for Ubers, all covered on points. So $5,700 savings on one 3-day conference trip for 3 people. You could see how this adds up very, very quickly if you have someone internal in your company managing your points for you. So you can travel with your points. So if your business earns, this woman and her family, Beth, she loves to travel, but has always done economy. And her family was not leveraging their businesses. So he had a business as well. They weren't leveraging it to generate points, and they weren't using their business cards efficiently. So we helped them earn 1.2 million points very, very quickly through their business. And they used those points to pay for a 2-week business class trip ticket to Europe. Mrs. Chesky Krumlov is one of my favorite towns in all of Europe. So I'm very glad they went there. And it saved them $57,000. So you don't have to be paying for this stuff. These are business owners just like you. These guys on the left, client of mine, never flown first class before, and they flew their family of 4 to Germany. These guys loved flying first class, but weren't doing it very often. Now we're doing it 3 or 4 times a year. And on the right, these two are business owners, and they had never flown out of the country in anything but coach before. So they experienced their first class ticket. So these are heavy users of MilesMentor information now. This guy, Josh, called us last week and said, my brother and I want to go to a concert in Europe tomorrow. Do you think we can do it? We helped him get there. He got to go to his concert. So you can do pretty much anything you want if you just know how to do it. We promote the EOS life. That's the thing I told you about, doing what you love with people you love, making a huge difference, being compensated appropriately, and having time for other things. Thinking through if travel is a part of that is your first step. Like, is travel a part of my future life? Here's how you can engage with us. There's lots of ways to do things for free, and then there's lots of things that you can do to go deeper into this information. So you can get a free credit card consultation in 20 minutes from the mentor himself. You can sign up on our website, no problem. If you just have a trip you want to do and you want a little help, but you don't want to learn all of this stuff, it seems like too much for you, you can do a one-on-one hour with the mentor, and he will work you through how do we earn the points we need, how do we get you spending them right, and how do we get that trip that you want booked. You can also take our course. We have a 6-week course where you'll become an expert. I mean, by the end of that 6 weeks, you are booking your first family-free trip, and you are excited about the ROI on the course that you've gotten. So this is when you really want to dig into it. And this is where I ask, who in your household is the person doing this? If it's you, then you take the course. If it's not you, have that person take the course. Also remember that we treat you and your assistant as one person. So for your business, you can send your assistant through the course, and the two of you can have access. Your assistant will not only learn it for the business, they will learn it for themselves. You can just sign up for a membership. So we give you all access to all of our content, and you can learn on your own time. What we found, though, is that people are very overwhelmed when they get into the portal as to how much information there is to learn, which is why we created the course. We'll walk you through it in the right order in 6 weeks' time, where you commit 2 hours a week to learning on your own time. You don't have to do it there's no class that you're attending. You're watching the classes. So 2 hours a week for 6 weeks gets you to be the expert. Then you can sign up for the membership to stay attached to our information. Once you've taken the course, the membership's half price. And then we have a corporate program. I have a lot of my leadership team members who have done this course. And now they're like, how do I get this for all of my employees? So we also have a corporate program that's a benefit, where for a low annual fee, you give access to the course to all your employees. And we call that, the cheapest raise you're ever going to give all of your employees, because their next vacation will be free and they will thank you. So those are ways to engage. Now, questions about the info, questions about how I can help you. Like, tell me what you need to know right now. Anybody have questions? Maybe not.
Well, I'll ask a question. Or did I talk over somebody?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I know our family is planning a family trip next Christmas to Paris. So my husband was complaining about how much a ticket costs, even in coach. I said, no, I think we need to have a point strategy. So this Christmas we're having a points strategy meeting. I'm glad to know that we could just set up an appointment. If we're not ready to join the club, we could set up an appointment and just put a strategy together. Because I have a pile of credit card offers that I haven't even opened, but
be careful of those. Like, we have agreements with some of the credit card companies, and so we can get you better than what the deal is they're sending. So right now, everybody's getting in the mail 150,000 point offer for the Amex Platinum card.
Yeah,
we can get you 250. So
so going through MilesMentor gets me
maybe a better initial bonus for meeting the minimum spend.
Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know, because one of the questions I got was, well, can't I just create my own strategy? And I said, well, I'm on this call to learn what I don't know, to catch those blind curves. Good.
Yeah, and you got to look at the points that you have. So I would always tell everybody, set up your award wallet so you can see what you're working with. and it will tell you, it makes it much easier for us to say, oh, you should get this card next, or you should get this card next. We can see what you have.
Yeah.
We can see how to help you diversify and give yourself more choice and a higher hit rate of getting a lower first class ticket.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to download this video and I will post it to a YouTube library of all of our LinkedIn lives for emerging CEOs to learn how to make really good business decisions.
Yep.
And in that LinkedIn post, I'll tag you, Anastasia, so that if people have more questions, we can continue the dialogue.
Please do, and know I will come anywhere, anytime to give any presentation like this. So let me know what I can do to help you guys.
That's super. Thank you so much for your time today. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time on LinkedIn Live.
Happy holidays, guys.